we are hopeful that we can put this on YouTube or someplace where people can call it up at future times. And I've just been told that most of what she's gotten so far is my backside. I'm trying to avoid that. But thank you, Miranda.
There was a question asked during the pause as to when does the bribe start kicking in?
You're going to ask them already?
Well, I'm an impartial judge.
Yes, yes, you are. Well, you become aware eventually. What happened to Walters? Oh, she's getting coffee, all right. Usually, when an old person leaves, they go to the bathroom, which is just down the hall there. Basically, you need to find out where it is. Here she comes. But she will hear this or not as we...
Doctor, we need to have an introduction of...
Oh, of course we do, yes. Thank you very much.
-5 for the...
Yes. Your name and your year at school, please.
My name is Laurel. My name is Laurel Rosenfeld. I'm in 11th grade. Sierra Fayes, 12th grade.
My name is Bo Stuck, and I am in 10th grade.
I'm Katana Chori Goody, but you can call me Chori, and I'm in 10th grade.
Thank you, Shori, for letting me call you. And now, Mr. Cummings, where did you go to high school?
I went to high school at Kingsford High School. Taught there for 35 years after that. Never got out. Smashed valedictorian.
You were a class valedictorian?
Was not.
Oh, okay.
We did, Kingsford hasn't ever done valedictorian and salutatorian.
There go your hopes.
They're the best.
I'm Ellen McFarland. I went to high school at Tolliston High School in Gary, Indiana, but don't hold it against me.
You were valedictorian, madam.
Thanks a lot.
-5.
Valedictorian of the class of 1956.
It was easier than it sounds because my family was the only one who spoke English at home.
Speaking of back then, what was the world's population in 1940?
Less than what it is now.
Less than what it is now. That's good for a 1.5. It was 2.3 billion. What is it now? Is that right?
6.5 billion.
6.5 billion. Sorry, Tori, I didn't see you there. What is the growth rate of the population of the world at the present time? 1.3%, which means it doubles however many years. How many years does it take to double the population? 54. So with those of you who are at the outer tables or at the inner table, the population will be up twice what it is now. Now, someone has said quite correctly that if you don't know history, you're bound to repeat it. So, how many U.S. presidents have been assassinated? I think Marco got his hand up first.
4.
4. And a follow-up question to you. Who were they?
Lincoln, McKinley, Kennedy, Ford. Ford was an assassin.
Garfield. Get Cummings a point for Garfield.
No point.
Formal protest. 3/4 of a point, please.
This is where pride comes in.
What is a Hoover cart? A Hoover cart. Is that right?
During the Great Depression, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was like a Hoover town or shanty town.
But the Hoover cart, Kennedy, use the microphone, please.
Is it a vacuum?
It is not.
Okay.
McFarland, did you have your hand up?
I was going to say a cart to carry your vacuum around.
You were the valedictorian?
That was a very long time ago.
A Hoover cart was a car that was pulled by horses or oxen during the Depression because people didn't have money to buy gas. So they would hook up horses to the car, and that was a
When do
Hoover.
we get to some of the names of the musical groups since 2000? When do we get to modern day?
Actually, we're getting there. In fact, we're almost to music already because the only thing necessary for war is a military band. And so I'm going to give you the name of a song, and you tell me which war it went with. And this is going to be, I'm going to give you the hardest one first. God, please protect America. Kennedy?
World War I.
No. Bayes?
World War II.
No. Not World War III, Myrtle. But go ahead and try.
The War of 1812.
No. Oh, you're going to try that, Healy?
I was just about to say War of 1812.
Okay, Jory?
Revolutionary War.
No. Horace?
Just a good guess, Civil War.
No. Is that right?
Spanish-American War?
The Korean War. The Korean War did not produce many songs.
So that was a conflict?
That was not a war, that was a police
Conflict.
action.
It was a police action or conflict according to these people in the front row. And so we will not take away any points for the wrong answers. What war when Johnny comes marching home? Kennedy.
Civil War.
Civil War, indeed. What war, where have all the flowers gone? Cummings. Vietnam. What war, don't sit under the apple tree with Dave McFarland?
World War II.
World War II. Over
Can
there.
I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
You and she are related somehow?
Actually, C and Kennedy.
Well, here's the question. Has she seen the answers before she went up there?
Actually, no. In fact, she begged me not to ask any of these because even though she hadn't
You
seen
thought
them.
they were stupid, is that?
I get points for that, right?
Yeah, you get points for that.
All right, more history, but we'll get back to music later. You've heard of the Punic Wars, of course, and everybody knows all about the Punic Wars. But do you know about the Puny Wars? The Puny Wars. Ohio and Michigan almost went to war in 1835-36 over what? I think Healy got his hand up first.
Toledo Strip.
Yes,
What was that?
both Michigan and Ohio won in Toledo. Why? Nobody knows. And they almost went to war over it, but they negotiated it, and Michigan got the Upper Peninsula in return for Ohio getting Toledo. What is the shortest war on record?
6 Days War.
That's very close, but no, this war was only 45 minutes. The shortest war on record.
Kim Kardashian's last marriage.
Double points, Glenn.
Full protest. Kim Kardashian's marriage lasted 72 days, not 45
Oh.
minutes.
Strike. Them liking each other less.
Highly unlikely.
Dr. Perez, you're the judge of
Well,
this.
I'm the judge, I like the answer.
Oh,
But you like apples more than that answer.
I got the apple.
history. The world would have been a better place if he had remained a paper hanger. McFarland.
Hitler.
Hitler is correct. The world would have been a better place if the Yankees had signed him as a pitcher. Merkel.
Babe Ruth?
No. The Red Sox signed him as a pitcher, and that created a lot of wars, but who tried out with the Yankees as a pitcher and then went back to Cuba to become dictator? Healy.
No, I think this, Mr.
Did
Stark.
Troy get it up first or Stuck? Bo, you go ahead.
I was going to say Fidel Castro.
Fidel Castro is indeed correct.
I'd like to make a protest because he always said the answer first, and although it's unlikely, they could have heard the answer.
No, put his hand up first, the hand when I'm first over here. Don't argue with the judge, you're getting close.
The world would have been a better place if he had stayed in the Tiflis Theological Seminary and become a priest.
Stalin.
Stalin is correct.
Hey, that's pretty good. I didn't think you had it in you, but that's.
Let's see, I want to skip Supreme Court mottos.
When do we get to the modern music?
Right now.
All right, good.
To assuage the judge, we're going to go to the thing that I was going to do last. And Rebecca Black sang about a particular day of the week.
Her goes first.
We haven't heard from Troy, though.
Friday.
Friday, that was it.
Protest, formal protest.
What would have your answer been?
Friday.
So each team gets 5 points.
I demand 10 points since I did have my hand up first. That song is garbage.
That's 5 that goes away because of the outburst of one of your team. It doesn't matter whether you're trying to, you have to be decorum here.
Another day of the week. One more Saturday night. Who's Kennedy is wrong. Apparently. The Grateful Dead. And which day did Johnny Cash sing about in a song written by Chris Christopherson, Rosenthal?
Mondays.
Not quite. Kennedy. Sunday. Sunday morning coming down. Which day did the Mamas and Papas sing about? Bill Cummins. Monday, yes.
You know, you're as bad as the one that was in that chair. Yeah, what's this modern music stuff? Sunday.
This is modern music to me.
That's the problem.
All right, I'm going to give you a phrase that you have to complete. I came in like a wrecking ball. Troy.
I never hit so hard in love.
I never hit so hard in love. Miley Cyrus, wrecking ball. Complete this one. Marcy Notes and Dozy Notes. Farland.
Lansing
And Little
Diving.
Lamsy Doggy. I got the eye of the tiger, a fighter dancing through the fire. Laurel. You're going to hear me roar. Miley Cyrus, roar.
Katy Perry.
Excuse me, Katy Perry. Why does an orchestra use an A from the oboe to tune? Kennedy?
Because the oboe cannot be tuned.
Because the oboe cannot be tuned, and so everybody else has to tune to it. An orchestra normally has 2 double reed instruments. The oboe is one. However, it might have as many as 4. Can you name all 4 double reed instruments? Yes? No?
Kent, over here, then hand us up
Oh, okay.
long before.
Kennedy?
Deal, sure.
Oboe. Bassoon. Do I get points if I get one?
Would you speak up a little louder? I didn't.
Use the microphone, please.
Oboe,
Better.
bassoon. Clarinet. But do I get points for bassoon?
Oh, I would think so.
Yeah,
That's,
no question about that.
the other 2 are bass.
Bass clarinet.
No, but you're getting on your right way. You're going down into the bass clef. The contrabassoon, which is a great big bassoon, and the English horn, which is a great big oboe, are the other 2. Well, complete this song title. Shrimp boats is a-comin'. Bill?
Their sails are in sight.
Their sails are in sight. Shrimp boats is a-comin'. There's dancing tonight.
Is that Taylor?
Who was that? Now, when lifers were in high school, we were asked questions about inventors. And so these questions are for the life team specifically, because these were the inventions that you had to know about back then. Horace, who invented the steam engine?
That was before my time.
It was before you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How is it that you're asking questions directly to them? Are you gonna ask questions
Yes.
to the high school teams also?
Yes.
Equal questions, the same number of questions?
Yes. Even better question.
All right.
Anybody else?
Why?
No. Verlin? Fulton, Robert Fulton invented the steam
She
engine.
looked at the answers already.
I got it.
Ben, who invented the cotton gin?
Eli Whitney.
Eli Whitney is correct. Now, this one is going to be a little bit tricky. Who invented the threshing machine? Bill?
Cyrus McCormick?
Everybody thinks that, but no, it was actually Mercury.
John Deere.
Although he was important because he invented the steel plow with the turnboard. It was Andrew Michael, a Scottish engineer, in 1784, but Cyrus McCormick did indeed file the patent for it in this country, and so he's always in this country considered to be the inventor. At McCormick Theological Seminary, Presbyterian Seminary in Chicago, they were taught that the Grim Reaper was actually the International Harvester. Get your sponsors to explain that to you. But their inventions were for a different time in society. Some are still relevant, but now these are toss-up questions for the two high school teams.
Now, wait a minute. They got to answer questions. I think this team should have an opportunity by themselves, and this team should have.
You're so right.
I'm the judge. Always.
For the Kingsford team, who invented the modern automobile?
Modern what?
Automobile, the car. No, but that's what we would certainly think Ford up here, Troy.
I was gonna say that.
Think European. Think Mercedes. Benz, yes, it was Carl Benz who invented these. But it would not have been possible to have such a nice automobile without the rubber tire. Who, Iron Mountain, invented the rubber tire? Sanford is protesting that's a harder question.
It might be.
It might be hard.
Michelin.
That's a good guess, but no. Charles Goodyear invented vulcanization, but who invented the pneumatic tire? Put the air inside of it.
Who's it for?
Oh, that's for you, because you're the tire people. Because the judge insisted on it.
No, just answer the question, and we'll be fine.
Michelin.
John Dunlop.
I think I should get points for persistence.
I like that.
I should get told.
All right. Kingsford, who is erroneously credited with inventing the flush toilet? Oh.
Thomas Crapper.
Thomas Crapper. Was actually, he was the one who, once again, it was more like the patent thing. Now, some inventions were made after lifers were out of school, so we don't know anything about them. But, Iron Mountain, who invented the computer?
Now, when you say computer, a computer is technically just, you know, if we're counting an abacus here, because technically an abacus could be counted as a computer. And I don't know if I'm going to the abacus.
She's claiming that an abacus could be a computer.
It is.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So I think the question should be thrown out and we should be given points for knowing that an abacus technically counts as a computer.
You're not the judge. I
it's who invented the computer, which means who invented the abacus is the
But
question.
you have the answer to check my answer, because my answer is God.
There's way too much discussion here. They got 5 points for the question, 1 to the next question.
Go on to the next question, all right.
Now Kingsford gets 1 more to even it up.
All right. Which artist did not start painting until age 75? Oh,
Rivera.
no. Rosenthal?
Picasso.
No. The old people know this. Bill? Grandma
Yeah,
Moses.
but no points, because this was a question just for the Kingsford team.
But on Channel 13, don't other people get to answer if the people to whom it was
Not,
directed?
not when
Oh,
the judge says
not when
no.
you're in charge, yeah. Anna Mary Robinson Moses, Grandma Moses. Which artist often features a grandmother's house?
Now, is this for all of the parties?
No, this is for Iron Mountain.
Okay.
The answer is Kristen Stampino.
That's actually.
Now, after none of her students knew that, she might be considered to be the artist who did the screen, but she actually is not. Who painted the screen? Merkel?
Monet.
No. But he did get some Monet for painting it. Rosenthal?
Van Gogh?
No. Kennedy?
It's Edvard Munch?
Edvard Munch, yes. Who did the anti-war painting Guernica?
Now, wait a minute. Is this an open question, or is this back to Kingsford?
Open question.
So now we're back, everybody can answer.
Everybody can answer, yes. Now, I couldn't see, did
Merkel
Merkel
has-
have his hand up first?
Pablo Picasso.
Yes, absolutely correct. What theologian did an entire thesis on Picasso's Guernica? That wasn't in this, I just. Kennedy?
Does it begin with a B?
Begins with, last name begins with a T, as in Tilly.
Now we're giving grandfather to granddaughter.
Game Jefferson.
I'm going to give you a line of a poem, you give me the next
Now,
line.
can we just pause here briefly?
We've paused many
Well,
times.
no, this is important. Going forward from this point, if the answer is wrong, we're deducting 5 points. If we go forward, we're adding 5 points.
All right. Did you all hear that?
Now, well, you know, so be right. Or correct.
Complete this, give me the next line from this poem. Laugh and the world laughs with you. And
Crying, you cry alone.
actually it's weep and you weep alone,
I
but
think
that's
that's,
very close.
Weep and cry are synonyms. Interchangeable.
There are no points for that.
Oh, all
It
right.
has to be right.
our points deducted.
Well, we won't talk about that.
I think for every time we get points deducted.
Are you questioning?
No, then we just have to take an apple away.
Take an apple away?
Yeah.
Shake one for you. Shake one. You mind your manners.
A follow-up for the Iron Mountain group since
No,
Kennedy.
no, wait a minute.
No.
She did not get points for the question.
Oh, she didn't, all right.
Now
This
we
is,
go on to
this is
another
open
question.
then. Who wrote Laugh and the World Laughs with you, weep and you weep alone? Ella Wheeler Wilcox. The name of the poem is Solitude. Give me the next line. How do I love thee? McFarland.
Let me count the
Let me
ways.
count the ways. And a follow-up question, who wrote it? Yes,
Elizabeth Barrett.
Elizabeth Barrett Brown. Give me the next line. Water, water everywhere, Cummings,
And not a drop
and not a drop to drink. Who wrote that? Anybody?
Kipling?
No, but close. Samuel Taylor Coleridge. And what was the name of the poem? The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Give me the next line. Into the Valley of Death. I think Cummings was first.
Rode the 5,000.
Urkel?
Into the Valley of Death rode the 500.
No. Ben?
600.
600 is correct. Into the Valley of Death rode the 600.
Wait. Oh my gosh. Fayas's hand went up before
Fayas's
his
hand,
hand, and he
what was
was
your
speaking
answer?
as his hand went
600,
up.
all right. She also got 600. Since she was ignored there, this question is for her alone, so she can get extra points. What was the name of the poem? Anyone else? The Charge of the Light Brigade.
I like your smile, though. You get 5 points.
And who wrote it? Kennedy.
Tennyson.
Tennyson, Alfred Lord Tennyson. I'm going to look away from the Iron Mountain table as I say, well, give me the next line. Once upon a midnight dreary. All right, Kennedy.
As I wondered, making me weary.
As I pondered, weak and weary. And the author, Cummings? Edgar Allan Poe. Give me the next line. But I have promises to keep. Cummings.
And miles to go before I sleep.
And miles to go before I sleep. Who wrote it? Robert Frost. And what's the name of the poem?
Stopping by woods on a snowy evening.
Stopping by the woods on a snowy evening.
Could we use the microphone when you're giving these answers? We're trying to learn this.
Stopping by woods on a snowy evening.
Okay, put the microphone back in front of McFarland. No, keep it close. By the shores of Gitchigumi. Howard McFarland,
By the shining big sea waters.
her father's favorite poem. And who wrote it? Bill?
Longfellow.
Longfellow. And the name of the poem?
Hiawatha.
The Song of Hiawatha.
You don't get points for that.
Now, I think that I shall never see Cummings. Oh, let's go with Walters this time. Or-
I don't know at all, something like a tree.
Cummings?
A poem lovely as a tree.
I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree. The author?
Joyce Kilmer.
Joyce Kilmer is correct. We have some work to do on poetry, but perhaps not so much on popular culture. What is the name of the camel in the Geico Hump Day commercial?
Remember, you get 5 points off if you don't have the right answer. A guess, anyway.
The name of the camel is Caleb. Caleb. What is the name of the pig in the convertible stopped by the policeman? Patrick Healy.
Maxwell.
Maxwell is correct. Now, oftentimes in television, handicapped actors, or at least handicapped in the production, are featured. Who walked with a limp on Gunsmoke? Well, let's go with Cummings. I think his hand was up.
Chester.
Chester, yes indeed. And Chester was played by what actor?
Dennis Weaver.
Dennis Weaver. Now, who is in a wheelchair in Glee? Laurel.
Oh, I asked what Iron Man was.
Okay, whose hand was up next on that? In the wheelchair in Glee, what's the name of the character? Artie Abrams, who is played by what actor? Kevin McHale. Now, a follow-up. There is a Kevin McHale who is an English footballer, but there's also a Kevin McHale, another well-known Kevin McHale in this country, Or what does he know? I heard an audience member whisper the answer.
It wasn't a whisper, it was rather loud.
He was a basketball player for the Boston Celtics. On television, what lawyer was in a wheelchair? Cummings.
Ironside.
Ironside. And in the original, who played Ironside?
Raymond Burr.
Raymond Burr. And in the current version of Ironside, who plays it? Blair Underwood. Who was in a wheelchair in Joan of Arcadia?
How old are these questions?
You need to watch more television. Your problem. Your problem.
Joan's older brother.
Joan's brother, and what was his name?
Matt?
Kevin. It was Kevin Girardi, and he
So now,
was,
let's just be sure we understand. You got the first answer right, you got the second answer wrong, so they kind of wake themselves up.
and he was, that character was played by which actor? Jason Ritter, John Ritter's son. Now, here is a text language that even senior citizens will probably get. ADAD. If you put that into a text, what is the recipient going to think? ADAD. Another day, another dollar. If you watch The Big Bang Theory, you know what AFK means. I think we're close first.
Away from keyboard.
Away from keyboard. Now, if you are a religious person, you may know what AIMP means. Always in my prayers. What about
Say that, give that again, that's a good one. Give me that.
AIMP, always in my prayers? What about AITR? Every teenager needs to know this. AITR. Adult in the room. What about ADIH? Another day in hell.
Now, if the next question is along the same lines and nobody gets it, each team is getting 5 points. Now, there's kind of a strike against the moderator.
Now, here's one that the middle team undoubtedly uses a lot. CRAT. Can't remember a thing.
5 points for each team.
Surely you computer people know what BSOD means. Yes, people, thank goodness.
Blue screen of death.
Blue screen of death, yes. Middle table, you should get AWC, because that's after a while, crocodile. What is...
We can spell, we don't need these.
Give her 2 points.
Mine is 5 points for it.
Now, this is kind of along the lines of AITR. What if you just use the digits 303? To whom does 30?
A popular musical group.
It could be, but also it's your mother. So if you're trying to get people to know that you can't say anything because 303 is in the room, or number 9, what does that mean? It means parent is watching. So
I think Merkel should get points for that because he is technically correct.
he is technically
The
correct.
band could be in the room with you.
You know, this is for the judge.
That's right.
Whoever gets the point, Kennedy gets 5 points off. This is the way the game is played. The judge answers are asked asks the questions. The participants. Yeah, but that doesn't make any difference. And you, being the mother, maybe should be a little, circumspect also. Oh, you did? Well, then, you're welcome to say whatever it is you want.
In addition to Stalin and Hitler, who else acts like a dictator? Correct, that's correct.
Judge.
The judge. Military mottos. What is the motto of the U.S. Army? Is that right?
Army strong.
That is their advertising motto, but it's not their official motto. Rosenthal.
Don't ask, don't tell.
That used to be, but it is no longer.
This is, there are 5 points for both teams. Both teams deserve points.
Actually, the U.S. Army uses the same motto that the Clan MacFarlane in Scotland started 500 years ago. This will defend.
Are you Scottish?
Our clan motto is Loch Sloy, which translated to English is this will defend. The Navy has no official motto, but they do use one. It's just 3 words with commas. Is that right?
Land, air, and sea.
That's a good guess, but it's actually honor, courage, and commitment.
-5.
The official motto of the Navy SEALs. The Navy SEALs. SEAL Team 6 and all that. The official motto. Jordy?
No one left behind.
That's a good guess, but no. The only easy day was yesterday. Is their official. It's
If
kind
I
of
was
like.
picking a motto, that's what it would be, and you get 5 points.
We still need to rotate somebody in for you.
Everyone's been in.
Oh, all right. Just want to make sure that we were not leaving anybody out. And we don't dare put Lola Johnson back in, so.
Although Bill is doing pretty well.
The Marine motto.
The few, the proud, the Marines.
Not quite. Healy.
Semper Fi.
Semper Fi, or go a little bit farther with it.
Semper Fidelis.
Semper Fidelis, always faithful.
Now, the same thing applies here. Wrong answer, right answer, they wash.
The motto of the Coast Guard. Somewhat like the Marines, not surprising, because they serve some of the same clienteles. Semper Paratus, yes, always prepared.
The audience entered to the fray, so each team gets 5 points.
Now, this is for everybody. Who is the railroad engineer baseball player who has a hat named for him? Zapper.
Stormy Cromer.
Stormy Cromer, yes. And here is a question only for the Kingsford team. We know that there are many sports in the UP on the high school level that other places don't have. Skiing, trapping, things of that nature.
Trapping?
But Kingsford used to be a gymnastics power and won state championships. When? 3 state championships in high school gymnastics. When was that? Rosenthal?
1974?
You're very close. Keep going 5 years.
Which way?
My bad. That's right, 79. And go another one. One more on 1979. Jory, can you do that?
1980.
1980. And add 6 more. And you get 1986. 3 state championships by the Kings. And who? Now,
Wait a minute, doctor, how many points would you like me to award?
They didn't get any for math.
Okay.
Who was the coach of that famous team? We're going to have to go with Cummings if these students don't know. Marilyn Phillips was the coach of those 3 state championship teams. Now, for the Iron Mountain High School team. Kingsburg was not the only gymnastics power. The IMHS team also won a state championship. In what year and who was the coach?
We're really good at math.
But you only had 1, so you don't have to add anything to it.
But you can give us a year and a number.
Why don't you give them a year and let him give you the number?
1960.
1973.
Wait a minute.
You're
13.
supposed to let us.
Oh, 13, oh yes. Subtract 13 from 1973, and you'll have your wrong answer.
1973.
And who was the coach of that team? Anybody in the audience know that? Ann Casmer. I should have asked the audience more regularly, I forgot to do that. But my wife asked me, how will you know when we're done? And I said, either when we're out of questions or Bill Barrett has totally gotten out of hand. And we're at that point on both cases. And so, Dr. Barrett, we need to know just who has won and so forth.
I'm going to use God's invention, and it'll take me a couple of minutes to figure out what the final score is.
A couple of minutes to figure out the final score because he's using God's invention, which will be the question on the next. Now, McFarland is going to hand out some prizes to the participants. There are special prizes for each participant.
Those would be extras.
I'm gonna start with the old guys, if I can reach that.
Okay.
You are awarded a bottle of extra energy shot. Be very careful, it's highly caffeinated. Let's see, we have, you want to take one? But there's no calories, you're not up here?
Extra energy for
It's a dietary supplement, just in case. You could have asked that question, I could answer it.
These energetic young people will contribute more energy in the form of chocolate. You can fight over, oh, I wish I was young.